All right, so I've seen this on Twitter. I've seen this everywhere. People claiming that this is massive retcons and this is really bad, and Blizzard is just going to rewrite all of the history. In this instance, that is not true. Because everything we knew about... Okay, so I think before we even get into this, I'm going to borrow from Luton09, who's a Warhammer content creator. Probably one of the best content creators when it comes to lore I've ever seen in my life. But Luton makes the following observation. There are effectively 3 different types of storytelling. The first is the one that we are oftentimes, in most cases, very much sort of used to. That's the omnipresent god-level storyteller. So in other words, you have a god or a narrator that is omnipresent. The narrator is everywhere. The narrator sees everything. And in that storyline or in that storytelling mode, whenever the narrator remarks something, mentions something, or comments on something, you can take that as absolutely canonical, unless, of course, there is some fuckery with the narration. Then you have the sort of hearsay rule. Right? So someone heard from someone else and they're now telling it. So it's not a narrator, but it is also, or it is a narrator, but it's not an omnipresent narrator. It's a narrator that is still limited in what they could or could not know. So they're telling you a story that they once heard or recounting a story that they were once a part of. In those cases, a lot of what is said could be true. All of it could be true. None of it could be true. It really matters. Or it really depends on how you read the story and who the narrator is. And then finally, you have the first-person storyteller. So I made a couple of changes to Newton's one because I think this one is a little bit more accurate. The first-person storyteller, and Knockit, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. The first-person storyteller is the storyteller that is telling their own story from their own perspective with their own knowledge. In other words, they will have very limited or any knowledge of anything that happens outside of the scope of their existence. So when that storyteller tells you that, oh, this, and this happened, there is a very good chance that and that didn't happen, unless, of course, it happened to them directly. But then also, let's take the example of this person, the narrator was walking down the street and got punched in the face. So the narrator says, I was walking down the street and someone with malicious intent walked up to me with hatred in their eyes, hatred in their heart, and punched me in the face. The narrator can't possibly know what the culprit or the offender did or felt here. They can't possibly know whether or not there was actually hatred within their heart, or if maybe they were just punching people in general for funsies. They can't know that. So any sort of onus that they place on the person doing something to them or on parties that isn't them should be taken with a grain of salt, because they can't possibly know the inner workings of that character. All they can tell you is how they felt when these things were happening to them. Now, the World of Warcraft storyline very often, and this is where I think a lot of players in World of Warcraft can be forgiven for making this mistake. Because a lot of the time in World of Warcraft, the narration that we get is sort of god level, omnipresent narrator. But more and more, as time has gone on, we have seen those things shift. So a lot of this started to happen already in Shadows Rising. So in Shadows Rising, there's a lot of instances where Nathanos is speaking or Nathanos is thinking to himself. There are instances where somebody is speaking, and instances where the Alliance is speaking to each other, and Anduin is speaking, and Anduin is thinking, and Jaina is speaking, and Jaina is observing, and you're getting those thoughts. So it's a lot more sort of subjective in what is given to you. In the case of the information we have surrounding the Black Empire, surrounding the Old Gods, surrounding that entire storyline, it has always been subjective. We just didn't know about it until much later. When we got given the Chronicles, we were told that this is, as far as they know, the absolute word of God lore in World of Warcraft. We all took it as that until we found out that it was the Titans that wrote the Chronicles. So in other words, it has been subjective from the beginning. So the Titans could leave out what they don't want us to know, put in what they do want us to know, whether true or otherwise, doesn't really matter. It's all a perspective of from the Titans to us. So what do the Titans think we are allowed to know? So in this case, it's not retcons. It's actually reveals. So this makes you, if you can't at all trust anything that is written within the Chronicles, because we know that the Titans lied at the very start of it all. Even before they wrote the Chronicles, they lied to us. We have the records now of Tyr and Odin writing to their fellow Titanborn, telling the Titan Keepers not to share any information other than the information that is greenlit. In other words, the Titans created everything. The time of the Black Empire was completely fucking chaotic and horrible, and nothing existed before this. But then there's reveals within the in the text, in the in-game book, where it speaks about Yogg-Saron creating living waters within the halls of damn it, I can't remember what the halls were called. Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyways, in one of the Titan facilities that they took over, or that they built on top of this thing, Yogg-Saron created living water. Living water. In other words, Yogg-Saron had the ability to give life. No. Gilgamesh, these are new ones. Fuck it, let me check. Give me a moment, chap. I'll quickly... let me just quickly go up here. Someone DM'd this to me, so I should be able to find it relatively quickly. Let me just open all of this, just in case. Fuck. Alright. Assigned the state of the Titan for subjection. Briefly, it is apparent from your report the degree of transformation in Titan for subjection on one particularly notable variant, in fact, based on their origins in the prime designate. I am right to confirm that the wreckage discovered on our shores. While I would not presume to question either your authority or your determination, I pray to the Titans that the rumors I hear of a fourth expedition is folly. Watcher, forgive me for keeping secrets, but I instructed Sentinel Tolandras to withhold this message until you had safely reached your destination. You're in it and our worst. Before departing WoW Dragon, I left a gift in the care of the dragon aspect. Jabbird, how you doing, brother? Zetio, how you doing? Gravelord, how you doing, brother? Guess it's not there. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the one. Yeah. Sorry. As requested, I offer the following report on the progress towards our objectives. I am pleased to say that the halls of infusion, there we go. The halls of infusion are now operational. Though the work of imbuing order magic into the Wildspring is only beginning, I remain optimistic that the process will prove effective. Already, we are detecting reduced levels of contamination. I hope your investigation into how Yogg-Saron compromised these living waters will yield answers. So either Yogg-Saron created these living waters, or, as they claim, compromised these living waters. Again, everything is up in the air here. Everything is up in the air. We don't exactly know. We do know that these waters that were, quote-unquote, compromised by Yogg-Saron was used for the Dragonflight. Okay, so the current lore and how the lore currently sort of reads within this. So how the lore is now sort of progressing and changing since the new lore books came out. We can't trust anything. We don't know how the universe started. We don't actually know, because also confirmed in these books, by the way, the Titans are not world souls. Just FYI, for anyone that wondered. The Titans are not world souls. The Titans were made and designed in a facility called Zereth Ordos, I think. First, all historical records combining the advancement of the Black Empire to be purged, paint the age as one of chaos and misery. Second, attribute all accomplishments and work of wonder to the Titans alone, despite the relentless arguments made by some of you. This is not fallacy. After all, can anything truly be said to exist until it has been ordered? Of course not. Third, do not share knowledge of the first ones. Mortals could not conceive of the wonders that the Makers granted to the Titans of Zereth Ordis. There you go. So the Titans came from Zereth Ordis. That's their homeworld. That's where they were born. So all of the stories of the Titans, all of the stories of the origins of our universe, all of the stories about the void being the enemy and the foul being the enemy and all these enemies that the Titans created on our behalf, it's all bullshit. It's all lies. None of it's true. Annoying as fuck with this stuff. They leave interesting breadcrumbs, but then forget they exist and either do nothing with them or do something completely contradictory. Abaddon, I get what you're saying and I get what you're referring to, but you also have to understand that for the longest time now, World of Warcraft operated with no creative director. We know this because Blizzard just recently employed someone as the creative director for World of Warcraft. Happy Nexus, how you doing, brother? Creative directors are so important, and it's kind of sad that Blizzard never felt like it was needed, because this is where a creative director comes in, because it's the job of the creative director to keep track of these different storylines. When the writers come up with a cool storyline, it's the job of the creative director to be like, whoa. Don't we have another story that's completely different? Oh my fuck. Anyways, back to what I was saying before we got so rudely interrupted. This is where a creative director becomes so incredibly important. Ordering that story and making sure that the story makes sense. And I do think that hopefully now, with World of Warcraft having that creative director, maybe being able to set up better forums of communication between the writing staff and the historians, because look, Blizzard have all of the building blocks to keep track of every single one of their stories. Blizzard have historians working for them, and I don't mean real life historians, I mean Blizzard historians. People whose only job it is to make sure that whenever they come up with a story, it doesn't conflict with any of their previous storylines. So, but in order for that to happen, you need someone to put the sort of play the role of quarterback almost. So someone needs to be the quarterback that sort of goes, all right, you're going to run your channels like this. In other words, you write your stories, those stories have to go straight to the historians because they need to make sure that that is happening, right? That everything is working. The problem is if you don't have that guy or girl that does that, oftentimes the writers might come up with stories and they're like, oh my god, this is so cool, we have to do this. I never even check with the historians, because the historians won't know everything off by heart. Sometimes the historians will have to go look, right? They'll have to actually go search and go through their records and be like, okay, what the fuck did we do? How do we do this? Whatever the case might be. So I think it's important. What the fuck? Why is it creating an echo? I don't understand. Zixix, thanks for 100, bro. Really appreciate that. Let's see if it does an echo here as well. No. If you think about it, this could just be the beginning. Could just be the beginning. They're giving us this much. Imagine what they're going to give us for the whole of Dragonflight. Now, I'm with you. If this is all we're getting of the incredible lore and the rest of Dragonflight is pretty bland, then sure. But if this is what we're getting so far and we're not even in Dragonflight yet, can you imagine what Dragonflight is going to bring? Like, I really hope that this is sort of a look at what is to come. In other words, we're going to get so many more lore books and in-game lore books about the information about how the origins of our universe came to be. What is in our universe? Who is in our universe? I'm really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to it. I have not watched it. You guys don't... Okay, so you guys need to know something. Whenever new trailers and things come out, I never watch those unless it's on stream. So, just, yeah, we will watch it today on stream. I always leave that shit for content. Because it's fucking content. It's free content, man. I can watch a 1-minute video and turn it into a 10-minute video. So, you know, why wouldn't I? At this point, I can only imagine another train wreck. I'm just in for the sunk cost fallacy. Or the sunk cost. Yeah, I get that. I don't think it's going to be a train wreck, though, Blackadder. If I'm honest with you, I don't think this is going to be a train wreck. It seems like Blizzard is doing a lot of work on Dragonflight, and it seems like they're trying. So far, everything I've seen from Dragonflight makes me excited to play it. I haven't really seen anything in Dragonflight that makes me go. It's not like, so if I compare Dragonflight to every previous expansion, or at least the last 2 expansions, Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, both of those expansions had things that I immediately went, oh, there's things here that I don't like. So in Battle for Azeroth, it was Azerite armor. Really didn't like Azerite armor. And then when Island Expedition turned out to basically just be what it was, I also said this is not it. This is not what we were promised. Nowhere close. The promises of the Island Expeditions were brilliant. What we got was completely useless. So, yeah, those were things that I sort of highlighted immediately and said, this is a problem. In Shadowlands, it was when they changed Torghast from being an actual good fucking thing to an absolute worthless thing. And also Covenants and the legendary systems and all that. I remember looking at those things and going, yeah, this is going to be another train wreck. This is not going to work. People are going to fucking hate this. And I was right on both counts. People fucking hated it. Dragonflight is the first expansion in a really long time that I'm looking at it and I'm going, I don't see anything in this that people are going to hate. The only thing I can highlight that I think people will maybe dislike a little is I think a lot of people are going to be very lost in this expansion. I think there's going to be a lot of people that sort of jump into the expansion and then, you know, play the way that they've always played, which is, just, oh, do everything, I must do everything, oh my god. And then reach a point of going, well, what am I supposed to do now? Blizzard have always told me what to do now, you know, whenever I did something, Blizzard would tell me, now go, you know, do your Torghast run, and now go do your dailies, and now go do this, and now go do that. I'm not used to making these decisions on my own. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that realize, well, actually, going out and exploring is part of what makes a game good. So go out and fucking explore, you know. So yeah, I'm very excited for what Dragonflight is going to bring. So far, at least. I could be wrong. I'm first going to have to play it in order to give you my true thoughts. But for now, I am excited.